And all right, everyone. Happy Wednesday and welcome back to Outlaw Radio. I, of course, am the Outlaw tonight.
Canada, well, Tex Tony's going to bring some wrestlers. They're going to put you under the thumb.
I hear you, man. I hear. We can definitely talk wrestling. It's certainly one of the many things we can talk about. And certainly, I know we did that when we had our first chat on Blather Conversations almost 2 years ago. God, I can't believe
is that 2 years ago?
Wow. Almost 2 years ago. Yeah, it was good. It was good. Almost like a different lifetime for me. But yeah, it's I got a couple of things I'm hoping we can chat about here, some different stuff, and we'll just let the conversation go where it goes. And that's more, you already know that because we chatted before, but that's for anybody who's listening to this now or later. And again, I want to be respectful of Ken's time and my own time, because knowing Ken's got 8 million shows he's running every week. So let's just do this, taking care of it really quickly. But very quickly, I would be honored if you would take a minute here, dear listener, dear viewer, and check out the links in the description for this episode. Or if it's easier, please check out the QR code above my shoulder right now. Going there is the best way to support the work that I do here, providing insights and thoughts for you all, and hopefully just making you smile. There you'll find links to all of my merchandise that's featured here. If you want to take a look at what some of that might be, that's not the right one. I wanted this one. So my merchandise you can find there at the links, either at prowrestlingtees.com or greatwhitenorthproductions.com. I got lovely t-shirts. Some of them are on black, some of them are on white. You can do whatever you want there if you're tired of the black and white t-shirts. Or if you like reading and you want to enjoy some of my Canadian-based urban fantasy, please check out my Overdrive series, available at this time pretty much exclusively at the link on Amazon, either an ebook, Kindle, well, that's the same thing as an ebook, paperback or hardcover features. I'm going to get the Audible done from eventually, Ken. I'm going to get it done. My setup here is not quite what I'd like it to be. I've got to get a whole thing figured out here. But anyways, those are my plugs. I want to get all that crap out of the way. I want to get to the meat of the episode. And I want to talk to my buddy, Ken. Ken.
Yeah.
As we've learned over the course of time, getting to know each other and finding the things we have similar interests in, obviously that's why I started following you. God, I've been following you for a number of years now. No, please don't. In many ways, I'm here doing this stuff because of our connection and the bond I feel with you over the time of listening to you. Like, it's a very important part of me. But with that said, I want to kind of be curious how. Again, we're both men of a certain age. How has being an analog type fellow who's grown up, like you were originally in radio, myself with TV and all that other stuff, how has being an analog type fellow been a challenging transition now that we've evolved into a fully digital world? Is it different for you? Like where do you find that?
I love this question. Are you talking just about creatively or just day to day? Where are you at? What do you mean?
Let's start with creatively. Do you find that there's a difference now creatively in the space we're in today than when we were 10, 15, 20 years ago?
Absolutely. And I was, and I've said in other spots, I was slow to embrace some of the new technology, held on to some things I'd done in the past arrogantly. But really what's underneath that is fear and fear of failure, fear of ignorance, and fear of being left behind. And you manifest it into, well, I'm above that. I don't need that. And the new stuff is wrong. Now, not every piece of new technology ends up being the one we need. And some comes with problems. Looking at AI. But AI has some benefits in some areas. It's a complicated, nuanced conversation. But when it comes to creative stuff, I was left behind. I let myself be left behind in the mid 2000s. Slow to adjust to podcasts, slow to adjust to YouTube. Mocked some friends that were reviewing movies online. Like, what are you doing on the internet? What are you, Siskel and Ebert on the internet? And I wish I wasn't that. I'm not saying I'd be sitting on $1 million, YouTube channel and hiring you to co-host with me or something and paying producer Steve a $1 wage over there at Blathering. But I'd be farther along and I'd be in a better spot. So I have adapted. I've done a good job. I'll give myself credit. I've done a good job for adjusting to having I have a home studio here. I have all this stuff. I jump on all the things. I'm present on TikTok. I'm not as constant there as myself, my Sports Card ASMR channel is. But what I'm struggling with now, Adam, to be honest, is, and I want to get your take on the technology side of it, but
sure.
we have all this, and we have an entire generations beneath ours. I do say beneath, but no, coming up behind us that are more used to going, oh, great. So I get up every day and I have a thought and I put it to Instagram and I do a reel and I do this every day and then people start to know me and I just talk about things. I struggle to do that. I am still analog in the sense of I'm a performer. Things are intentioned and I do a show. I'm a radio guy. Like that's my DNA. And so even though I have all the new technologies, I was just talking about this today in therapy of just like, I think a lot of times I hold myself back because I'm like, why? What would I have to say every day on the internet? Now, do I think you need to go is it completely healthy to go on the internet every day and say something? No, but I'm in a creative field. So if I was still in public safety, I wouldn't need to do that. But I need to do that in order to succeed. And I'm not. And it's not because of the tech. It's because I'm like, I don't really have anything to say. And that's where I'm struggling.
Okay, well, in fairness, and I can just editorialize for you here because again, I listen to your Blathering 3 times a week, Force Center twice a week, now every Tuesday with Pat Conkey on culture, faith, and politics. Yeah, you got tons to say. I think it's at a point right now where you're wondering how much more of yourself you've got to say or to share. Maybe is that really what it is? Because like now I found especially that you if you don't mind me again editorializing, you are gravitating now more towards, I need a topic of the day that we can talk about, whether it's, your Game of Thrones or Star Wars or like things of the world. And then how that relates back to you and how you find that it how it expresses in your life and how you want to share that with people. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And I'm struggling a little bit to be myself. And that's why I give credit to a lot of, folks who have the ability of many different generations and age groups, by the way, but who have the ability to just fire up the phone, film like, oh my God, I had a sandwich today and it was really good. And have you ever tried this? Or what the hell's going on with Mitch McConnell? Is he dead or alive? And they just talk.
Yeah.
I can't do that. It's a performance. And so I feel I struggle to find my voice in that way. And that's the biggest struggle going on in my life because I do all these shows. Yeah. It's hard to get the word out. Because in the old days, I'd do a link. Hey, everybody, new show live. And you do it too. We still do it because one or two people might, but no one clicks through anymore. And the best way to get the word out there is camera, your face, talking. And I'm struggling with that.
And I can relate too. I've been doing this now. This is now my 39th week of doing these shows. And I've got middling success with, getting people to watch. Again, thank you for your time. But what I mean by that is that, I'm still learning the ropes. I'm still trying to figure out how to get the thumbnails into a way that people are appealed by them, want to take a look at them. How do I shorten these clips? By, again, like I said, using some of the AI tools. I'm not a big fan of all of them, but they do make my life a lot easier for trying to get short 60-second clips out to hopefully use that to drive people back to these longer form shows, which are really the things I'm much more interested in doing. So, all right. So here's something I've been noticing about myself when it comes to this channel, what I'm trying to create here. And I wonder if you agree with it as well. Most of the reading and research I've done about specifically YouTube, but moreover in all of the social media space for broadcasting, it seems to be less about the actual show and the niche and what I'm talking about as much as it is about building, as I hate to use this term because it's so networky, but building my brand and being able to present that out online, right? Is that something that you find for yourself, what you're trying to do, trying to find, we're talking about it existentially for ourselves. We're talking about who am I, what am I wanting to do, who am I want to present? Right. But we both naturally want to present as, performers. We want to present as, the Ted Koppels of the world, here we are presenting what we have for it today, because we want that veneer of protection, but at the same time we also are trying to struggle to, I'm really going off the deep end with this question. Do you find that online branding of ourselves are almost more important than what we're talking about? Does that resonate with you at all?
It can be. We're in an era, and I don't think branding or brand is a bad word. It sometimes is. I also don't think content's a bad word. It sometimes is. It depends on how you look at it and use it. When it comes to branding, the world needs to, we are all just full, our eyes are full of images and things every day.
Yeah.
This is how I make my living. This
Yeah.
isn't a hobby, so I don't come home from work and do this. It's how I live. My survival depends on this, so I have to get the word out. If I don't, I die. And I think in all that, branding is key about who are you, what are you talking about. But branding is also a box, and I think I fight against that box too. I also get bored with it. You know, I recently, this past year, was diagnosed ADHD, late stage in life, diagnosis. But that made a lot of sense because there's been things I have started. If you follow me long enough, you're like, I might start this over here. It gets a little too hard to do. I'm going to stop. I did 4 videos of that. It's not working. That's a little ADHD, but it's also a little bit of me getting creatively bored. And ADHDers react to, it's either, my friend Scott Antonucci said this best to me, that he, I think, heard from his own therapist, that it was like, with ADHD, if it's not new or urgent, we don't care. And so that kind of, this is to answer your branding question. When I think of who am I and what am I going to tell the internet?
Yes.
I get bored pretty fast with that. I'm a Star Wars guy. I'm a Game of Thrones guy. That's not all who I am, but I enjoy it. I have a sports card ASMR channel because I'm a big fan of ASMR. That's not all who I am. I'm a stand-up. I'm a broadcaster. I have the blathering, which I love. It's not who all I am. And so I struggle to put it all into a little box and answer the question of who am I?
Isn't that the truth? And again, Lord knows, the number of people that I've, that I've read and followed here, just for my own little bit here, that say I should really have separate channels for my match uploads, for what I do here on OUTLAW Radio, when I do my fitness content, and I should separate it all because I'm screwing up my own algorithm just because of all of that stuff. And I'm like, but all of this is me. All of this is me, right? Yeah. And so I think I'm leaning into more with what I'm trying to do here as like, look, you're either accepting all of who I am or not. It's like a relationship. Like this, you're getting all of it, or you're getting none of it. And I guess that's my own issues there.
And just on a technical, consultation kind of way. Yeah. Keep doing what you're doing until it's time to move it off, until you feel the need. Yes, it's absolutely true. I launched Sports Card ASMR because I like ASMR, and I had a bunch of sports cards I wanted to get rid of. And let me try this. It's one of the things that I love doing. It's niche, but I have an audience that grows every week. And I started that on my own YouTube channel. And it was like, no one in my audience or subscribers knew what to do. And then YouTube didn't know what to do. And we can rally and rail against that. How YouTube, Google, algorithm. And you're right. There's some problems there. Yeah. But in my position, you have to face the realities. And the reality was the computers behind these things are like, wait, are you a stand-up comic? Or are you Star Wars guy? Do you review food? Yeah. Or are you answering advice questions? Or are you talking about squirrel? Like, what's going on here? Right. And I think I am in the period of me and my friend Phil Svitek. I'll always recommend you guys check out Phil Svitek's channel. He's great with advice. And he's in this spot too, Adam, where he's like, I'm all these things and I'm going to do it. And I'm like that too. But I think if you start to find that, like, you're like, you know what, there needs to be Adam Knight, the wrestler channel, then do it and lean to that, because that's how it's maybe a better strategy. But also, first things first, you've got to get yourself over. That's what you're doing now. The buy-in has to be to outlaw Adam Knight, not the wrestling character, but Adam Knight, the author, Adam Knight, the advice giver, Adam Knight, the fitness counselor, all those things.
Yeah. And that does seem to be the case. All right. Well, pivoting slightly, you mentioned a bit earlier, like, you mentioned earlier you had a therapy session this morning. I, of course, have been through therapy a few times myself, had my own sessions. I got to ask, why do you think it is, and this is a very broad question, I know you can answer for the rest of the world, why is it, do you think that it's so hard for guys our age to accept help and community? Do you think it's because like it's like some sort of social programming from our youth, like all the Lone Man Warrior Rambo stuff that we watched, right? Do you think that's part of it? Or do you think it's actually much more societal than that, for why, like, it took me forever to be able to even say things like, I'm struggling. It was recently 6 weeks ago. I had a really low moment. I posted on here and I did a program about it. I got my girlfriend to work and she's like, "Is everybody okay? Are you fine?" I'm like, "I'm fine." When I have a low moment, I'm trying to be honest about it. And
I've done that.
And I'm trying to break against my own programming, my own internal programming, by sharing it. Why the fuck is it so hard for us to be able to say, "Hey, I feel lousy and I need help and I don't know what to do"?
I think there's definitely all the above, little column A, column B, and column C of all the things you're saying. Of definitely, we are of a certain generation that still carried forward the stank of the greatest generation and all that came before it, meaning stereotypical patriarchal kind of view of society, the strong, tough man, like all that stuff is true. And how that dealing and thinking about your emotions is ladies' work, and that stuff is very real. It wasn't like my dad said that to me.
Yeah, for sure.
But he's like strong, silent type, that kind of thing. Worked hard, supported his family. I looked up to that. But he and I never have a ton of deep conversations about this kind of stuff. My mom encouraged me to, when I was going through depression early on. She tried to find help for that. She was a little overwhelmed on how to do it and probably couldn't reach me at the time. And I did go a little bit into counseling, and I went to therapy later on. But I think too, also it's I don't know, man. Like sometimes I don't want to be stereotypical, but like even as a guy, like I'm willing to suffer silently if I can make sure everyone else around me feels better. I'm okay. Bury myself. I don't care.
Okay,
and that's not healthy or true.
No,
but that's where it plays out a lot. And so therapy would fix that. That's the other thing, and I'll let you jump in.
Sorry.
I think even nowadays it's hard for anyone, but particularly men, that we could sometimes identify the problems. I can talk about it on a podcast all day and have for almost 20 years. But until you want to actually change that and let go of that narrative and let go of that character, then therapy has almost no need. And so we hold on to that too. There's a lot of things.
How much of that do you think is Catholic guilt, or in my case, Anglican guilt? Or, the way we're meant to suffer, we are meant to carry these burdens for whatever reason. Like I'm being straight up, and I'm not trying to be facetious to that question. It's something I've had to think about a lot recently. Like I don't consider myself religious anymore, but my religious upbringing definitely has something to do with who I am, the good stuff and the stuff that is not great. It's
for
not
me.
good.
Yeah, for me, I was raised Christian, so not Catholic.
Forgive me.
No, it's okay. How dare you sin before the eyes of God, Adam? So for me, it wasn't that therapy was bad. And again, this doesn't come directly from my parents. This just comes from the culture I was raised in.
Yeah, for sure.
It wasn't that therapy was bad. It was that non-Christian therapy was bad. If this is not coming from the mouth of God and through the mouths of a pastor who's often not a trained therapist or psychoanalyst or anything like that, then it's of the flesh and stuff like that. And that's the kind of stuff I think I felt. And I felt guilty. Again, this is a personal journey, but like when I finally, my first therapist, it's a complicated, slightly different situation where it was at the time my best friend's dad. Right. And I was very, in with the family, and I was going through around the time of 30, going through some just life and suicidal obsessions and stuff like that, suicidal fixations, and had a really bad time. Something was going on, and he basically said enough. Monday morning, 10 a.m. You're in my office, and he was my therapist for the next 4 years. That's not everyone's. That's not even the best case. Some folks, it might be too familiar, it might be blurring some lines. It was a bit of a privilege and a blessing because he didn't charge me. But I felt guilty. Because it's like, and he was a pastor, and his viewpoint did come through the Bible. We didn't talk about it in those terms. He didn't pull out his Bible in therapy. But he all of his analysis and advice was pushed through that lens. But because we didn't begin each session with a prayer or something like that, I felt guilty deep down of like, I'm not doing it right, or that this is some kind of Eastern mysticism, which was how I was raised. Again, not by my parents, but the culture around me. That phrase, Eastern mysticism, it's steeped in racism. But that's what I wasn't even encouraged to watch Star Wars. That was a problem. It talks about the Force. I know. Which it has Eastern mysticism attached to it. Only Western religion is the right one, and only one particular one, really. So that was the early thing of therapy too. Of even thinking of going back in the day was like, well, that doesn't seem right. I could just pray, right? I'll pray and I'll solve it. Yeah.
Isn't that the worst lesson we learned? If we pray and ask for forgiveness, then everything's taken care of. We don't have to think about that stuff anymore, and we can move on with our lives.
You don't have to think about yourself. You don't have to think about yourself. That's some of the I have no problem. Like I don't know. I'm not even agnostic. My friend calls me, I'm not atheist. I'm theist, and he also went to seminary school, and he's an atheist now. But that there was something about when I started to say, I don't have a problem if you say, hey, if you got some problems, pray or seek out power. I don't have a problem with that. You know how many times in the last 2 years as my life has kind of fallen apart, I've mumbled to a God I believe in my backyard, talking to my squirrels, going, how am I going to get out of this one? There's that, but I think personally that keeps you from learning about yourself, which is how you solve these problems.
Okay.
And so, therapy is about confronting those things or breaking those patterns or changing. It's about change, and not that God won't change. In fact, the whole big thing is you need the big change in yourself. But you know what I mean? When you're just like, oh, you're down, you should just pray. Well, that might help, but you're not learning about yourself. You're not learning about why you're down. You're not learning how to fix it.
Man, that resonates so truly with me in so many different ways. And also, just for everyone that's out there an hour later, I just thank you for being so open and sharing about some of those struggles you've had. I know you talk about that on your own channel, but you're talking about it with me here, so thank you for that. It's a lot, man. It's an awful lot, and certainly in the last few years and the last couple of months, specifically here and there, I've done the same thing. I've gone out in my backyard where I'm shoveling snow or mowing the lawn and having to stop and just I'm doing the same thing. I'm not necessarily praying to, the God that I was raised with. Maybe I'm trying to speak to my dad or my grandfather, my ancestors, and
right.
or whatever the spirit or the power of the force is, trying to draw me together to give me not an answer, but the clarity to be able to say, hey, this guilt that you're holding on to, this anxiety you're holding on to, whatever you have right now that's causing you this fear, it's okay to feel that fear, but it's also okay to acknowledge that fear is something that we as people need to confront, because maybe it's the thing that you need to push through to get onto whatever it is you're going for. And maybe I'm just reading too many inspirational cat posters when I say that sort of stuff, but there's something to that. I think
it's all simple stuff here. I think at the end of the day, it's hard to get to it. What you're talking about is something I've been dealing with, and I even talked about it on my show, I think on Monday, of don't dismiss your feelings, right? Feelings are indicators. Everything comes from your thoughts is what I'm struggling with. I even had an intense therapy session today of like your thoughts. So even those fears you talk about come from thoughts. And I'm not saying like you can control your thoughts. So what's the problem? I'm just saying you have to, what are those thoughts? Challenge those thoughts, provide evidence against them. One of my big things is I'm pretty sure I'm a big piece of shit who has no talent. So I have to go in the backyard and go, okay, but is that true? You're not a superstar. You're not Howard Stern of podcasting, but you've had some things you've done well. People seem to like you. So is the thing you're telling yourself is that thought? Is that true? Yeah. And separate that out from, also I could use some money. Things are tight, and that's a reality. And I'm depressed about that. There's two different tracks, and we intertwine them.
Yeah, both things can feel true, whether they're factually true or not is not necessarily the case.
Right.
So somewhere in the middle lays the truth in that gray area, right?
Right. Indeed. Indeed. Like the truth that I need to wear these reading glasses more often than now. It's just driving me crazy. I have these very fancy specs, and I'm telling you right now, dude, it makes me nuts that I have to do just about everything with them now. It's crazy. And I have contacts, so I already have a problem seeing. But now I need these readers. I got my reading glasses, Adam. So now my seeing glasses, because without this, it's tough to make out your face. Your beautiful, beautiful face.
Well, we could talk about gender ideation and attraction as another time, or we can get into it now. But what I was you're making me laugh, Ken. Goddamn.
Wherever you want. Wherever you want to go.
How was San Diego Comic-Con?
It was a lot of fun. It's hectic as always. I had returned to it and returned it at the side of someone who has a different way of experiencing it, and that was really fun for me to see it through her eyes and experience a different side of a con I'd been to for 10 years.
Nice.
And it was really rewarding in that way. I got to relax, got to take a nap. I didn't have a ton to do. I don't work it anymore. Right. I'm a stand-up comic and had a show Thursday night with Jen Sturgeon and Mark Ellis, and that was good. But after that, I was nothing. I was nobody, and I had to be okay with that because I used to be not somebody, but I used to be something at these cons. I used to be, be working them. I used to be covering them. I used to be on the party lists. I'm not a huge partier, but San Diego I was. It was a lot of fun. It was a different world because, and you asked a simple question. I'm giving you a complicated answer maybe, but The biggest problem for me going to San Diego Comic-Con, to have fun, to just relax, to be there with someone and for someone, to stand in her corner on big events she was experiencing. That was so fun. That was not a struggle or a problem. But the problem I had is like Comic-Con represented to me this Shangri-La that I first experienced while still stuck in a job I wanted to leave and still struggling for my identity and my professional creative identity. I was still in that job when I started going to Comic-Con, and it was like I was surrounded by a lot of people who are, digital media people, bigger names and everything. But just the point being, like I walked in, I was like, oh, finally. I've been waiting almost 17 years, almost 15 years in LA to find this, my people, right? And I attached so much of my identity and the excitement for the future to that, that Comic-Con became this yearly return to Mecca.
Yeah.
And then when that started to drop off because things change and channels I work for go, I stopped working for channels. I'm not as known anymore, so it's like it's not even just the ego hit. It's like, all right, was that real? Was this whole experience? Did that Mecca that I went to every year, was it real, or I was just looking to fill my life with something else? So to return to it was big this year, to just go return to it as best I can myself and not this persona that I had. Or I tell you what, or should I just say, oh, it's great. I had some good food.
I want you to be honest, Ken. That's what I really want. Yes. Objectively speaking, like Comic-Con has been a goal of mine for a long, long time. But of course, I'm from way up in the Great White North of the 51st state. It's a harder trip for me to get down there for this thing any year to go do that.
Right.
It's still a goal for mine. But much like you, and maybe this is because I'll say it's my ego. I don't want to go if I don't have a reason to be there aside from just I want to go.
I feel that.
I have a hard time with that, right? It's like I remember saying this to my daughter's mother once, and she couldn't understand. It's like, well, why don't you want to go to the WWE show when they come to town? I said, because I don't like going to shows that I'm not booked on.
I don't watch stand-up if I'm not on it.
Exactly. If you're not working like the Comedy Store, or Flappers, you going down? Probably not.
Yeah,
right?
I'll go as a comic to hang out and meet other comics. I'll go to the Comedy Store as a comic, but the thing of like. A lot of people ask me, what's your favorite comedy special? I don't watch them. What's your favorite podcast? I don't listen to them. Like, I'm busy making them.
Yeah. That is the interesting thing, isn't it? It's my goal is to get down there one day, because I also want to just get down to LA and BS and tool around and go to the Smokehouse with you and Joseph one day. But it's like, that's what I want to do just for me. I'm curious about San Diego and the Comic-Con there, because like when there's been conventions up here, and still Canadian Comic-Con's a pretty big deal, or whatever it's called now, but I've never gone without being invited. You know what I mean?
I 100% know what you mean. Yeah.
Right, and it's weird. It's not because I'm a cheapskate or because I don't have any respect for everybody else's work that I want to appreciate, but I feel if I don't have something to contribute, that I'm contributing something to the event, I feel like I'm wasting my time being there, and that's ego. Yeah. that's what that is.
It's ego. It's a search for identity. I also get it, but San Diego's so big that I think you should try to experience. It's tremendously difficult to get into. Yeah. I mean, you can get the badges, but hotels and it's a thing. It's a thing.
That's part of it, right? Yeah.
But you absolutely should. I just you never don't compare it. I always, you've heard me say this even in my shows, like don't compare my experiences at Comic-Con, especially early on, to what you might be experiencing. It's going to be totally different. You're going to have your version of Comic-Con, not mine.
100%, right? And that's the same thing for everybody. We've all got different experiences, right? Like, our experiences in the wrestling industry are similar but different, given, our locations, the people we met along the way. All right, I say that, and then of course, then we went to Cauliflower Alley together in Vegas. Allegedly, we didn't know that at the time, and then we're like, oh, we're all just a bunch of con men on some level, aren't we? Oh shit, okay, great. Yeah. Good to know.
That's still funny for those that don't know. Every year there's a thing, cauliflower. Well, at all times there's a thing called the Cauliflower Alley Club, which is a association that helps pro wrestlers in need who might not, don't have the ability to help themselves. And it's also they award and nominate and celebrate wrestling. And then every year they put the thing on in Vegas. They're back doing it. They stopped for COVID a couple years. And I used to go all the time. I was a member, and you and I were at the same event. I watched you wrestle.
Blows my mind.
I watched you wrestle.
like I vaguely remember now, and you won't believe this, but since we had our conversation, I vaguely remember you taking pictures of a bunch of guys. I'm sure we shook hands, like just like meeting, like just mingling at some point along the way.
Yeah.
And just, because I had yet to start following what you were doing, or you hadn't started yet. It drives me crazy.
Because you were in the battle royal, right?
I was in a couple of company.
Yeah. My friend Whiskey Fist was in it, doing his Scottish gimmick, and I was there.
No, I had a good. I tell the kids that I train about this, as a lesson for learning how to keep your head up and to keep your eye out, and one of those things is one of those like 50-person Royal Rumbles to start the show, and just there's more humanity in there than I thought the ring could hold.
Absolutely.
I was one of the smaller guys at 3 bills, and there were some hefty dudes in there,
and some old dudes,
and some old dudes, and some greenhorns thinking this is their big shot to be seen by some of their heroes. And thankfully, I was around long enough to know none of these guys give a fuck. They're here to drink, right?
Because you'd have various times, and rest in peace some of the names, but Pat Patterson was there all the time. You had Jim Ross and JJ Dillon. A lot of so I think a lot of times, and I don't think it's the wrong attitude, but a lot of times I used to joke with my friends of like all these people think Vince is watching.
No. or one of Vince's stooges. There's somebody's here that's going to go. Yeah, this is the moment. This is the time we're going to get you.
Yeah,
Alex Hammerstone or whatever.
As opposed, I think the right way to do it is really learn. Who's watching yourself, and you should hone your craft. You should be the best wrestler that the audience that you want to present to the audience, and the rest will take care of itself.
For sure. Do you watch much wrestling these days? Just out of curiosity.
I don't. I miss watching it. I know SummerSlam was the last couple of weeks. I would say at this point I have a complicated history or in relationship with WWE. I don't
Mondays
watch.
Might be hard.
You miss what?
Mondays might be hard.
Yeah. And AEW and TNA. I don't watch a lot of that, and was always maybe more brand loyal to WWE because growing up as a kid in the '80s. But I do miss it. I keep tabs on it because I follow a lot of the stuff on Instagram. I follow some certain wrestlers, or my old AfterBuzz buddy Kathy Kelly is up there. I follow her, make sure I'm rooting her on and all her work up there. But I miss it. You know what I mean? Like I miss wrestling's in your blood. Like I miss sitting ringside, leaning on the apron, talking with Dan Fair and the booker, and going over spots and matches, or just kind of chit chatting while guys are running the ropes and gals are running the ropes to start before the audience even comes in. That sound of the first bump someone takes and it echoes through an empty gymnasium. Oh, it's so fun. I miss that, and I miss watching wrestling. There's no big reason I stopped. I stopped watching years ago. I just think I couldn't keep up. I remember when they went to 3-hour Raws. I was like, I can't do this.
It's tough, man. No, it's the reason why I know that when I'm done actually performing, like, I had a show on the weekend, I've got another one at the end of the month, and I've got a few more for the rest of the year, and then we'll see what happens. But I know that when I'm done performing, I know that I'm going to have to stick around. I'm going to continue to help train. I'm going to go to events, because that camaraderie, that feeling, that creative juice output I get by being a part of it and being able to help on some level, honestly, is what I enjoy more now than any pop that I get by, throwing a chop and hearing the crowd go, ooh, you know what I mean? Right. It's like, I hear you.
How are you? So you had no, and you're still working, you're still getting in the ring, but you've had no issue. There hasn't been a feeling of lost glory by training, right? And mentoring. It's been fun, clearly.
Honestly, quite the opposite. I get so much joy now seeing the light turn on in somebody else's eyes than I ever do with anything myself. Like it's I think back to like 20 years ago when I kept being fed guys and occasionally girls in the ring that weren't ready because they knew that I could be the mechanic and the carpenter and get them through the matches. Right. I didn't take any joy in that at the time because I felt like I was being held back by trying to get this more jacked up, more over, more whatever aesthetically pleasing person to the next level. Now I look back in those times and I go, oh man, that laid the foundation for who I am today, where I am grateful to be a mentor to so many people. And, again, is there some ego to it? Sure, there's some ego to it. Like I guess I did this on the weekend in the luxurious hilltop resort in Manitoba, where we sweated our asses off in an outdoor show and dealt with mosquitoes all night. But oh God, it was terrible. But having that locker room, everybody coming up to me because they genuinely want my opinion, and I've got something to give. It's not just the ego of like, oh, they're all coming to me. It's like, oh no, I can help you. You have a question, I can answer. I can help you understand what you're trying to do, and hopefully give you some insight in how to get there. And I know that's going to be my way forward when I'm done performing, right? Yeah. And in many ways, it's no different than any other creative pursuit that I've got at that level, right? Whether it's writing these bad boys, or creating my the reels or whatever I do, or any script outlines or anything I'm creating, it's all the same part of my brain. But being able to be there with these younger than me folks and being able to, spare them some wisdom and some experience, and hopefully help them avoid some mistakes we've all made along the way. When they've made the mistake, okay, here's what you do next, right? That's huge for me. I get so much more out of that than I do from any accolade I get for being, wait for it, the best goddamn heavyweight champion in all of Canada.
As you are.
As I am.
The man speaks the truth. In wrestling, there's that adage of those that can't teach, which is, I don't think.
I hate that adage.
I understand it, but here's the thing: like I was a great baseball coach. I was not a great baseball player. I coached Little League for 2 years. In the second year, I was 22, and I was so good at it. My team did so good that the adults, the 30. I probably thought they were ancient. They were probably 31 years old or 35. Came to me. They surrounded me after my last game. We're like, we'd like you to be the president of the league next year. It was that. I was moving to LA. That's how good I was at coaching baseball. But I was a bad player. And all that's to say is not. Because I didn't. I had to learn the game differently than someone who was super good at it.
Yeah.
And I spent more time loving it. But my point is that doesn't directly translate to, I think, wrestling, where the realities are you can't bump forever.
Oh God, I don't want to bump now.
Some people will try, but that's also because the industry has that dark side. I don't know if you heard that, Adam. It has a dark side of the ring, where money is something you have to keep chasing for survival. So, but also it's hard to give up that glory, right? That's the Wrestler is a great movie, I think, because that one of those big themes in there. But the reality set in, and you can transition, I think, easier. It is actually because you could that you can. Yeah. And because you did that you are. And I think that's something I'm glad you're experiencing and enjoying.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. And I had enough, much to their detriment, to my benefit, examples of people at my level currently now that were ahead of me, that were making like the Randy the Ram choices that were just sad.
Right.
You know what I mean? I had more than enough examples locally and across the country that I were my peers or were my mentors. And I'm just like, oh God, right? I never want to be that guy, that girl, right? Mm-hmm. And sadly, I know I got current peers that are still struggling with that. And I wish like hell they could find the peace within themselves to go, hey, just because my time is gone doesn't mean it was not worthy.
Right.
But also the important part, and again, whether this is about ego, but so many people worry about the impact they've made on the world, their legacy or whatever. When I'm done, people will forget. And that's okay. I put the From the Vault matches up every Monday. That's as much for me just to have a digital spot for them to get rid of my VHS tapes as it is for everybody to take a look at what a jack off I was in 1997. It's really just about, it's about having it out there as a record for myself. But I want to be able to say when I have my last match, whenever that is, it's coming soon, when it's coming, that I went out not being embarrassing myself and who I used to be. Because there was a point in time I was pretty damn good, Ken. I was pretty darn good. And I never good enough to get to the next level for a bunch of reasons that are on my own fault, and also just bad luck and timing.
Sometimes
wasn't the guy. I wasn't the guy.
Yeah,
that's okay. Right. Anyways, that's getting off in a bit of a tangent there, but shocking enough, like you, I also don't watch much wrestling anymore. I've got the channels. I've got. I can watch AEW every Wednesday and Thursday or whenever it is I want. I watch TNA only be the clips, and the only time I watch WWE now is when my daughter's like, "Hey, can I watch Rhea Ripley?" Okay, sure, and we'll put on whatever match she just had. Like I pick and choose, right? So it's like I keep my nose in it just to understand what they're doing, so I know what the kids I'm training are talking about. But honestly, I kind of think in some ways that level of the industry's passed me by, and I'm okay with that. I'm really okay with it.
I know what you mean, because there's realities to it. I get. I want to be like, no, Adam, you can still go. Well, for me, is I was one of the many, mostly white straight male comedians that moved to LA to do improv and sketch to get on Saturday Night Live, and I was at one point like you, pretty darn good, and probably could have gotten there as a writer, but made a lot of choices and held on to a lot of false narratives about myself that kept me from it. And though Leslie Jones was a writer who became a cast member at 50, the reality is the time has passed.
Yeah.
And that's just the truth. And that's okay to live in that and find the new version of you beyond that.
Again,
you're doing that.
And so are you, man. We all are. But it's, again, the same question you asked yourself earlier and mentioned, like, who am I? What are we doing? And I think more and more as I do this show every week, whether I'm talking about something specific or I'm chatting with another insightful fellow like yourself, I think that's the question I'm trying to answer for me. Who am I? What am I doing now?
What
am I doing today? And am I okay with that? And I think by and large, I am. And tough days, hard days, but I like me now. And I think we're getting to that next point.
That's the starting point, right? Like me. Yeah, it's hard. I think it's harder for more people than they know. To face those truths and find the new version of you or where you're at. But you've also gone through you've done a lot of growth and changing over the years. The version of you, younger you, which I didn't know, but there's matches to show it, probably had a different understanding of yourself that you've been able to change.
Man, you ever look back at your old stuff, whether it's like your old writing or your old gimmicks or whatever, your sketches, and you go, that kid thought he was the shits, or that kid thought he was great. I watch my own clips back and I go, I remember being that guy. And I remember that guy not thinking he was good enough, or that guy being, why am I being overlooked? Like it's you see it now, you see it in yourself, and it's kind of funny, right? It's kind of funny.
And it can be tragic if you stay in it. I had the experience. I don't have a lot of stuff on. I came up an age where you had to pay someone to bring a camcorder to record a comedy show or something. But I have some old VHS tapes and CDs of my stand-up, which I don't think I'll watch. But and this is on my Patreon page. You might have even seen it. I put my old I put the sketch shows I did at the Groundlings, and
I saw those.
and I did some commentary on it, and one of it, in watching it again, I'd seen them over the years.
Of course.
But once my buddy Ken Plume helped me digitize them to take them from DVD to a file on my computer, I watched it, and I watched the kid in the year 2000, on stage feeling like he belonged there. I saw myself, and I was like, I was probably I was probably better than I thought I was at the time, meaning not in an ego way, but like, man, you had something, and I was watching that performer on stage going, that guy feels like he belongs there, which is why I kept getting moved on in the system. And then in 2002, I had some great sketches, some great moments, but I could see in every frame someone who felt he didn't belong there. And between 2000 and 2002, I had begun to tell myself that you don't belong here, and that I believed it. And that's the biggest tragedy. We talk about having a different understanding of yourself back then. I wish I had a little bit more of like, I got this. I had a lot of you don't belong here, and I had to face that. And I faced it a few times over there. I faced it in 2015 when I was finally in New York, visiting for the first time, and just looking at the 30 Rock building and going, I don't know if I could have made it or not. I don't know. I don't know because I didn't try, because I let myself think I couldn't do it.
Self-sabotage is a fun thing, isn't it?
It's a hell of a drug.
It's a hell of a drug, man. I don't know why. It seems to keep coming back to the same thing that we've been talking about obliquely since we started this chat, but it's true. Like, even when I had my opportunities as an extra backstage for my first extra job for WWE 2004 here in Winnipeg, I probably could have gotten one of those gigs 3 or 4 years before, but I didn't think I was worthy. And I finally said, oh, I'll wait till they're here and then they'll have to take a look at me. And guess what? They did, because I was the only guy in their height range they were looking for at the time. But I went in there, and goofy hair, skinny fat, didn't have anything they were looking for. And I shot myself in the foot the minute I walked in the door. I couldn't have. My point is the fact that, yes, I, as much effort as I put into those type of things, if that was my goal, and honestly, no, I kind of am grateful that I didn't go that route. But in many ways, I also know that I didn't really try. I was really good at being good in the ring, but did I really try to do what I needed to do to get over that hurdle? I don't know. Right. And I'm not just talking about steroids for everybody that's in the chat wondering about that. I might have done some of those too, but that's neither here nor there.
It quickly, was the style at the time, yes.
Just at the time. I've got some people in here. I'll just show you that we have. I do have a few viewers, which is nice. Laserbolt Vids is here. He's happy to see both of us going. Yes, Laserbolt, it has been 39 weeks already, which is pretty great. If this is my sober journey, I'd be, only a couple of months in, I'd be able to get a badge from AA, but that's all right. And yes, he is right. And not surprisingly, Laserbolt saying getting back to nature for a few hours is a great way to clear the head when you're dealing with, some of the overcomplicated thoughts and stuff. And I'm sure he's out there. And of course, 889 for Channel 19. Hey man, I appreciate you lurking. Lurkers are always good. And always good to see 889, 884M in here joining. So thank you guys all for being here. Ken, I'm not going to take up too much more of your time because, of course,
I'm good.
I know
where you want to go.
Well, I guess I'm at the point right now where it's just, I'll make it official. I need to say thank you. I remember the first time I saw you on it was one of those daily news movie shows that I used to watch at the company that shall not be named because they're a bunch of fucking crooks and assholes. But I always remember, forgive me, this is a terrible memory for you, because I remember you were extra frazzled and extra grumpy because you just got in a car accident and you're pissed off, and I remember so connecting and so resonating with you on that day that from that point on, I'm like, oh, and you do a Star Wars podcast? That's cool. And I immediately started following and started listening to that stuff. And I also have to thank Billy Business for when you finally did his hot takes show. Do anymore, where he got you to actually do something that you hate and I hate as well, a ranking of all the Star Wars movies in preparation. So 9. And I loved it because that's when I found out about your book, which I read, every your fantastic essays cracked me up. I don't have it in front of me right now. I'm sorry. I was not prepared. But I think I need to thank you because, as we've talked about obliquely and otherwise, we have both had different challenging last couple of years, losing a parent, going through a divorce and managing different situations and a couple of different moves and, changing, non-wrestling or writing careers at a advanced age, as I'm very gray haired now and I'm, about to start something else. You have been a constant in my life for the last little bit, providing insight and wisdom and humor and comradeship in a way that not many people. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say it in a way that doesn't make me sound. As much as I believe that being creative, whether it's my writing or by doing these live streams or whatever, is therapeutic for me. You being out here and sharing of yourself, your squirrel videos, and being honest about your situations and stuff, man. I remember when we first started chatting, you were very kind about the things I was saying as you were dealing with, your own stuff, and we went back and forth. I just want you to know, feelings mutual. What you've done to add a sense of, comradeship and kinship for me is not just me. You have your community, and and you see it from producer Steve, Jerry the Tie Pilot, everybody on down, everybody in the Force Center community,
even Brady.
Even Brady.
No, you're welcome for what it's
So
worth.
thank you, for real. Thank
Yeah.
you. I'm here today doing this stuff with you because of you, and I'm glad the fact that we get to have these type of chats, and the fact that we can text every once in a while and be BS about the Jays and the Dodgers. God damn it! Yes, even you, Brady.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, you're welcome for not for what it's worth, but you're welcome. I'll accept the nice words and gratitude and return it to you. And yeah, I'm only as good as those watching and listening, right? If I got no one, I got no one. But I try to show up for the people that are there with me as best I can. I give a lot of myself, and sometimes maybe I should pull some of it back, and I'm getting better at that in some spots. Yeah, no, and you, I could see, we're of the same age, months apart maybe, and that means, and also there's always a little bit of a wrestling kinship, even though we weren't in the same locker rooms, and you were in it way more than me. There's always like I like you already, and then but that also means you and I have emerged from those kind of situations, whether it's locker rooms, whether it's alpha male environments in our work and in my old industry and stuff like that, or some of the toxic male figures around me in the digital media movie talking space. And you, I see someone who's tried to push past all that to make the best version of yourself. That's a more well-rounded person, not a well-rounded, just a well-rounded man, but a well-rounded person. And so, yeah, the struggle is always going to be there, and the struggle is always real. But I've always admired what you're doing and what you're trying to do in your life.
Well, thank you very much. I will accept that without 8 million caveats of why you're better than me, and we'll just go on with that from there.
I just learned that in therapy today. We're both gonna accept the thanks.
Yeah. Yes. Not only are we not good at asking for help, we're not good at accepting the gratitude when it's returned to us. So yeah, let's leave it at that. And I'm gonna say thank you again for your time. Thank you to everybody who showed up here today. Thank you for everybody who is in the afterwatch party. If you are here in the afterwatch party, please leave a comment down below. Please check out the links up in the corner there. I've got links to as many of Ken's things as I can remember and think about in the comments in the description of this episode. Please do that as well. Ken, do you have anything immediately coming up that you'd like to plug? Or aside from like Force Center and the Blathering, and I know you just did Pat Conkey on Tuesday.
No, check out all the stuff. If you got a link there, you can go to my website and jump to all of it. Whatever you're interested in, Game of Thrones, Star Wars, ASMR, faith and politics, and how they intertwine, all that stuff is there. In terms of, if you're in the Atlanta area, I'll be at Dragon Con this year for the first time, and I'm going to be on some fun panels and stuff. Get to go hang out and cause some problems with Alex and Molly Damon and others. So look for that, more information. If you're in the area and you're going to the con, I will be there.
That sounds great, man. That sounds great. And again, please check out the QR code above. Check down the links down below. Next time you're going to get to see the best goddamn heavyweight champion in all of Canada in action will be August 28th, the end of the month, the second anniversary for Blaze Pro Wrestling. I will be defending my title in a fatal four-way against the Saginaw Warrior, Corey Diamond, the, what's his name? The loose cannon, TJ Cannon, and of course, the masked Mexican luchador, Mentolo. But of course, it's going to be me. Spoiler alert. Please get tickets for that if you're local to Winnipeg, or if you want to watch the stream, go to www.playsprowrestling.com. Get a load of that. We're in a bigger venue. We've had 9 straight sellouts for our shows. Nice. We're hoping to keep that streak alive. We've been doing some really good business with a lot of young and up-and-coming talent and some veterans like me who still got something left to give. So thank you everyone for being here today. Thank you for joining in this conversation. I'll be back next week with another topic or another guest. Ken's going to be out in the world doing his thing and feeding some squirrels and taking Frannie for a walk. Until then, keep your head up, keep your eyes on the prize, keep on being good to yourself so you can be good to others. And so take care, everybody. Thank you very much.